Did you know Owen Hargreaves was once considered the best young footballer in Europe, only to have his career derailed by injuries? From Calgary to Munich, Manchester to retirement at 31. Owen Hargreaves' career was a roller coaster. But was he actually as good as some claim? Or was he just another case of wasted potential? Today, we're separating fact from fiction. Hargreaves wasn't your typical English footballer. Born in Canada, he was scouted by Bayern Munich as a teenager. Can you imagine the culture shock? But here's where it gets interesting. Despite never living in England, he ended up playing for the Three Lions. Talk about a plot twist. This decision stirred up a storm. Canadians felt betrayed, while English fans were skeptical of this guy with a North American accent. But Hargreaves wasn't fazed. He got to work, impressing everyone with his skills. Before long, he was named the best young European footballer, snagging the Bravo Award. So how did this outsider become a European football sensation? That's the story we're about to uncover. So how did Owen Hargreaves go from being an outsider to a European football sensation? Well, his journey to the top wasn't just about individual awards. It was about conquering Europe with two of the biggest clubs in the world. Let's start with Bayern Munich. Hargreaves didn't just play for Bayern. He became a crucial part of their dominance. You know how some players are just there for the ride? Not Owen. He was right in the thick of it, helping Bayern win 4 Bundesliga titles. But here's where it gets really interesting. In 2001, he wasn't just winning domestically. Hargreaves was a key player in Bayern's Champions League triumph. Now you might be thinking, sure, but how good was he really? Well, consider this. Ottmar Hitzfeld, one of Germany's most respected coaches, built his Bayern side around Hargreaves. This wasn't just some young player getting lucky. Hargreaves was controlling and commanding the midfield like a seasoned pro. But Hargreaves wasn't done there. His performances caught the eye of none other than Sir Alex Ferguson. And if you know anything about Fergie, you know he doesn't just sign anyone. When Manchester United came calling in 2007, Hargreaves answered, and he make an impact. Here's something that'll blow your mind. When Ferguson signed Hargreaves, he told him, "One of the reasons I signed you is to help us win the Champions League. I think you can help us do that." Talk about pressure, right? But Hargreaves didn't crack. Instead, he became a crucial part of United's Premier League and Champions League double in 2008. Now let's talk about that Champions League final for a second. Hargreaves didn't just play. He was on the pitch for all 120 minutes against Chelsea. And when it came down to penalties, he stepped up and scored. That's the kind of player Hargreaves was. A big game performer. But what made Hargreaves so special? It wasn't just his ability to control the midfield. This guy was versatile. He could play right back, central midfield, you name it. He had this drive, this dynamism that set him apart. And let's not forget his free kick ability. Remember that crucial winner against Arsenal? That's the kind of moment Hargreaves lived for. When you look at Hargreaves' career, it's clear he wasn't just good. He was exceptional. He conquered Europe not once but twice with 2 different clubs. He proved himself in different leagues, different roles, and on the biggest stages. As impressive as all this is, it's only part of the Owen Hargreaves story. Because while he was reaching these incredible heights, there was something lurking in the background. Something that would eventually change everything. But we'll get to that. So, we've seen how Hargreaves conquered Europe with Bayern and United, but there's another chapter to his story that's often overlooked. Let's talk about his role in England's national team. You might be thinking, wait, didn't English fans initially reject him? Well, you're not wrong. But here's where it gets interesting. Hargreaves faced an uphill battle with England from the start. Imagine being the first player to represent England without ever playing for an English club. That's exactly what Hargreaves did. He was a football anomaly, and fans weren't sure what to make of him. But here's the thing about Hargreaves. He didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk. And boy, did he walk it well. Remember the 2006 World Cup? While the rest of England's so-called golden generation was stumbling, Hargreaves was shining. He wasn't just good. He was England's beacon of hope in an otherwise disappointing tournament. Now, Hargreaves didn't just impress the fans, he impressed the Football Association too. They named him England's Player of the Year and England's Player of the World Cup in 2006. That's no small feat, especially for a player who started as an outsider. But what made Hargreaves stand out from his contemporaries? It wasn't just his skills on the pitch. Hargreaves had something unique, a blend of German brain and English heart. What does that mean? Well, he combined the tactical discipline he learned in Germany with the aggressive, hard-working style that English fans love. It was like having the best of both worlds in one player. Now let's talk about his most memorable match for England. It's the 2006 World Cup quarter-final against Portugal. The stakes are high, the tension is palpable, and who rises to the occasion? Owen Hargreaves. Even though England lost in a penalty shootout, Hargreaves was undoubtedly England's best player that day. But here's what's truly remarkable about Hargreaves' England career. He didn't just perform well in one tournament or one match. He consistently delivered when it mattered most. He became the unsung hero of England's golden generation, a reliable presence in a team often criticised for underperforming. Think about it. In a midfield that included names like Beckham, Gerrard and Lampard, Hargreaves managed to carve out his own essential role. He wasn't flashy, he didn't score many goals, but he did the crucial work that allowed his more attack-minded teammates to shine. So, how did this outsider become such a vital part of the England team? It was simple. He let his football do the talking. Hargreaves didn't need to win over fans with words or charm. He won them over with his performances, his work rate, and his undeniable impact on the pitch. In the end, Hargreaves' journey with the England national team is a testament to his character and ability. He faced scepticism, overcame it, and became a key player in England's midfield. He might not have been the most celebrated player of his generation, but he was arguably one of the most important. But here's the thing about football. It can build you up and then tear you down in an instant. Just when Owen Hargreaves was at the top of his game, his body started to betray him. It's like the universe decided, okay, you've had your moment in the sun. Now let's see how you handle this. So, right after that incredible 2007-08 season with Manchester United, where Hargreaves played 34 games and helped the team win both the Premier League and Champions League, things started to go south. And we're not talking about a minor setback here. We're talking about a career-altering battle against his own body. What was the culprit? Chronic tendinitis. But this wasn't your run-of-the-mill tendinitis. No, Hargreaves had to go and get an extreme form of it. It's like his body said, if we're going to do this, we're going all out. The condition was so severe that it led to major surgery. And, you know what? He never fully recovered from it. Now imagine this, you're Owen Hargreaves. You've just had the season of your life. You're on top of the world. And then suddenly you can't even climb a flight of stairs. That's not an exaggeration. Hargreaves himself said, "At home I couldn't go up the stairs because I couldn't get back down." Can you imagine how frustrating that must have been? But Hargreaves wasn't about to give up without a fight. He underwent multiple surgeries and tried to make comebacks. There was even this big moment in November 2010 when he returned to play against Wolves. Everyone was holding their breath, hoping this was it, the big comeback. But then, after just 5 minutes, he had to be substituted due to a torn hamstring. Talk about adding insult to injury. The numbers tell a pretty grim story. Between the 2008 Champions League final and October 2010, Hargreaves managed only 177 minutes in 4 appearances for Manchester United. That's it. All that talent, all that potential, reduced to less than 3 hours of football over 2 years. Now, here's where things get a bit messy. Hargreaves didn't exactly leave Manchester United on good terms. He criticised the club's medical staff, saying, "I've had to be a guinea pig for a lot of these treatments. We treated it and it got significantly worse through the injections." That's not the kind of thing you want to hear about a top club's medical team. But Hargreaves wasn't done yet. In a last-ditch effort to prove he still had what it took, he posted videos of himself working out on YouTube. It was like a job application, but for professional football. And you know what? It worked. Manchester City gave him a 1-year contract. For a moment it looked like this might be the comeback story we all love. Hargreaves even scored on his debut for City in a League Cup match. But that was pretty much it. He made only 3 more appearances before calling it quits at the age of 31. So, what do we make of all this? Owen Hargreaves, the prodigy from Canada, the Bayern Munich star, the Manchester United champion, the England Player of the Year, reduced to watching most of his later career from the stands. It's a stark reminder of how fragile a footballer's career can be. So, we've seen Owen Hargreaves rise to the top, conquer Europe, and then face a devastating battle with injuries. But what's left when the dust settles? A legacy that's complicated, to say the least. Think about this. Hargreaves won 4 Bundesliga titles, a Champions League with Bayern, and then did the Premier League and Champions League double with United. That's not too shabby, right? But here's the kicker. Despite all that success, there's always this nagging feeling of, what if? You see, Hargreaves wasn't just good. He had the potential to be one of the best midfielders in the world. Sir Alex Ferguson saw it, his teammates saw it, and on his day, fans saw it too. But those days became fewer and far between as injuries took their toll. Owen Hargreaves' career may have been cut short, but his impact on the game and his story of resilience will never be forgotten.